welcome back to this episode of Cope's Corner. I am your host, as always, Mike Copenhaver, aka Real Mike. You can find me on Twitter at Cope's Corner, KOPESKORNER. Stoked to be here with you guys to talk about a bunch of MMA going on this week and go over the Ultimate Fighter Season 29, Episode 9 recap. Appreciate all 48 of you live already tuning in with me to go over the show. Can't do this without you guys. For the people that are new, I go over the UFC odds usually, or all MMA odds that are interesting for the weekend, and then I give out my best bets that are in sync with who I was liking with the odds movement and all. So, with that said, I'd just like to start off by thanking off my sponsors. Let me just pop them up on the screen first. First sponsor that I'd like to thank is Brand Hats, MELIN Brand Hats. It's a luxury line of hats that my boy Brian McDonald in high school dreamed up. He talked about how we'd always have just a dope set of hats that would be a lot different than any other thing that we've seen. They use waterproof materials at times. They use really intricate patterns. Really, really sweet stuff. So make sure you go over and shout out or get yourself a hat for the summer and for the winter coming up, because they have some really dope winter gear as well as dope summer gear. So shout out to Melon Brand Hats, MELIN. And secondly, I'd like to shout out Fokai Stuff, FOKAI Stuff. So .com. So Guamanian gear. My boy Rome over there in Guam gave me the chance to sport and support their gear, and I just couldn't be more stoked because I've been supporting Fokai since my brother fought back in before the Ultimate Fighter Season 6. So there you go, stuff.com. Crank the sponsored by Brandon the Truth Vera, Herman Tirado, a bunch of really good fighters. So really like to just give them some love and get them some support over there from Guam, especially after COVID. They could use the money. Really good people. And thirdly, I'd like to thank Spliff Seeds Amsterdam. It's SPLIFF Seeds. It's Amsterdam. It's MJ Genetics. If you look at the picture featured, it's of lemon cream Kush female. The actual picture there featured is the plant that I grew. It's also on the cover of a book of a grower in the UK. His name is Sean Prana, Prana. If you like growing, so make sure you go get yourself genetics, and shout out to Amsterdam for supplying me with some of the best genetics to keep going. And then with that said, with those sponsors, I got a couple other sponsors. Justin L from Vancouver. I appreciate you just always being there for me and having my back. I really can't thank you enough for supporting me. And then my boy Kick Your Bass 21 on Twitter, Ryan Richardson. I appreciate you always having my back as well, man. Hello, Mel B. Appreciate you here. Hello, Jackie Girl. Appreciate you being here as well. Thank you for the Super Hard Award and the few likes that I got. 54 of you already live with me as we start the show. So last weekend we had a really, really exciting event. It was UFC Vegas 33, and it was TJ Dillashaw versus Corey Sandhagen. Really exciting event that went on, and we'll get into the main event of that went on. But firstly, the first fight of the night. Let me jump off the screen real fast. The first fight of the night was Diana Delbita. Diana Delbita, she handedly beat Hannah Goldie. Hannah Goldie is like a little truck, little tank, and Diana Delbita just was actually doing whatever she wanted with Hannah Goldie for all 3 rounds. She won a unanimous 3-round decision. But the next fight, really fun to watch. Thank you, Jackie Girl, for the haps hug. I appreciate that. So the next fight of the night was absolute violence. The reason why I love mixed martial arts, Sajara Eubanks baptized the girl. She forgave her for her sins and everything that her ancestors did to all mankind. Elsa Reed got absolutely smashed in round 1. Her eye will never be the same. Her orbital bone is for sure broken, and she will never ever eat punches the same after what Sajara Eubanks did to her with the vicious ground and pound. She had her back and was pounding her out just on top of her. Then she had her in full mount and dropping elbows and punches just galore, and just absolutely, like I said, killed Elsa Reed, made her realize that she might not be made for this sport. She was 4-0, and she fell to 4-1 because she faced a fierce competitor in Sajara Eubanks. Like I said last week, the toughest thing with Sajara Eubanks would be her weight cut. I will give her the credit that she made the 125 pounds. So I will take back my words that she was not going to make the 135 pounds. She's had trouble in the past. But like I said, she's her own mental demon in the sense. And so Sajar Eubanks seemed to have conquered that. She's going to be a major problem for these girls if she can keep getting the 125-pound mark. But yeah, Sajar Eubanks, shout out for the vicious round one ground and pound domination of LC Reed. The next up was absolute domination as well. Julio Arce took on Andre Ewell. Julio Arce just absolute. I thought he was going to dominate Andre Ewell on the ground because Andre Ewell had really good striking and a good left hand, switch stance as well, but he's got a weak gas tank. And Julio Arce just exploited him everywhere that there was, whether it was on the ground or whether it was on the feet, and he absolutely smashed him on the feet. KO TKO punches in round two, and so let me just pop up there because I don't know why it's all blurry, but at least you'll see that. So Julio Arce won round two, TKO punches, ended Andre Ewell's night. And then next fight card was Mickey Gall. He took on Jordan Williams. Jordan Williams dropped down from 185 pounds for his first 175-pound bout. He thought that he was going to have the advantage in the strength department after facing such big guys as he has in the past. But man, Mickey Gall looked every bit the part. Been training with Joe Schilling. His stand-up actually looked so much better that it's I don't know if it's for real because it was versus Jordan Williams, but for now it was pretty decent in the sense that Mickey Gall could dominate. It got him, smashed him on the feet a little bit, and then got him in the ground in a rear naked choke, and just ended his night in round one. So Mickey Gall is looking, he's getting sharper and sharper, kind of growing up before our eyes. The next fight of the night was one that I'm not to be. Sadly, I took an L. Haven't taken an L in a long time, and Nasruddin Imavov took on Ian Heinisch. And I'm going to say right off the bat, I lost 1.45 units on Ian Heinisch because I do not know who showed up. It was terrible. The volume, the game plan, everything. And Nasruddin Imavov just dominated him in round two. I rarely lose a bet, let alone one that gets finish on the wrong side. So, but you take those L's as you go in the sport of betting, and like to be transparent. 1.45 units was lost there on Ian Heinisch, just didn't show up. Shout out to Nasruddin Imavov, though. He looked really, really good, whether it was a stand-up or his ground game. And so it was. The next fight was Brendan Allen versus Punahele Soriano. And I told you guys last week, Brendan Allen, he's the real deal. He's young, he's strong, he's got an all-around good game. He was taking on my boy Punahele Soriano from the islands, 808, brother. I didn't want to say nothing bad about Punahele because I like him, and so I didn't say nothing at all, but I did like Brendan Allen. I almost fired him on a bet last week, but his line movement was we lost the good number on him. For Brendan Allen. And so either way, Brendan Allen dominated that fight, won a unanimous decision versus Punahele Soriano. The next fight of the night was Dr. Pepper versus Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, and Adrian Yanez took on Randy Costa. And these two boys came to throw. Thank you so much, Aaron Weibbaum, for the Cowbell Award. I appreciate you. I appreciate the 63, 68 of you live here watching me, and I appreciate the awards that you guys have given me. Like I said, Adrian Yanez took on Randy Costa, and these two absolutely got smashed each other. Yeah, Aaron, I need to get the podcast going like you gave me the instructions too. So I do need to get that going. I was on everything with doing the MMA for Money show, for the last years. And, now that I switched, it's going to take a little while for me to switch over to get audio. But for right now, just doing what I can, getting the bets out to my fans on the live stream. But Adrian Yanez took on Randy Costa, and these two guys at it, an absolute banger. Round one, these guys threw everything and their mother each other's faces. Adrian Yanez was the favorite of around -200. If you bet Adrian Yanez round one, you were scared shitless because Randy Costa had a jab that was popping off. It was really, really sharp. And Adrian Yanez's nose was taking the worst of it. But then round two came through, and Adrian Yanez either took in some data, his game plan in the sense, but he must have saw something. But he ended the night of Randy Costa round two, KO punches. Adrian Yanez is a lot of fun to watch, man. He's still kind of a kid. He's super polite. I like his demeanor and everything that he brings to the table. And so I can't wait to see him kind of grow a little bit more before our eyes. I don't know why my stream is blurry. My face isn't blurry, but the the actual screen is. So sorry about that. Macy Barber, the next fight of the night, took on Miranda Maverick. Somehow the judges, I don't know if they were judging the butts of these girls, but I know Macy Barber did have the better booty, but she did not deserve the split decision win that she got over Miranda Maverick, in my opinion. I thought Miranda Maverick did enough to win the decision pretty handedly, and somehow the judges gave Macy Barber the decision. You could tell how shocked even Macy was that she won, and then Miranda was obviously quite disappointed, and she had the right to be. But I thought Miranda Maverick won that via split decision easily, but who am I? I'm not a judge, so it was what it was. Macy Barber, the future, I call her the past. She ended up winning, and I'll look to fade her in the future, as she calls herself. The next fight of the night is Darren Elkins versus Derek Minner. And holy shit, Darren Elkins made Derek Minner look like a minnow, a guppy in a pond. Derek Elkins drowned him in round two. Round one, Derek Minner had a lot to say and was throwing a lot of bombs, just piecing up kind of Derek Elkins, had him in a submission guillotine that he gassed his arms in. I was going for some kind of rookie stuff that Darren Elkins was just way too savvy to fall to. So Darren Elkins just ground and pound smashed Derek Minner round two. After Derek Minner gave everything he could in his mother, you could see the train just stop, and Darren Elkins just took over and smashed him into the ground. So shout out to the damage Elkins. I don't know what that guy is made of, but it is not human for sure. I know that because I just haven't seen someone be able to take punches just that many times and take the abuse and still just withstand the other person's punishment. So either way, Darren Elkins is a savage. The next fight was Rulian Paiva took on Kyler Phillips. Everybody and their mother was on Kyler Phillips. Main event of the night. He was striking as really diverse as Kyler Phillips, but Rulian Paiva is a tough dude. He had good striking, but he's super hittable. That's why I favored Kyler Phillips in this matchup, because I thought that Kyler would be able to hit Rulian Paiva a lot, and he did, but he ended up kind of gassing towards the end. I had Kyler Phillips winning the first round 10-8, and then the last two rounds 2 and 3, I had Rulian Paiva winning by 1 point. Should have been a draw, my decision, or draw in my opinion. But like I said, I'm not a judge, but Rulian Paiva ended up winning majority, and a lot of parlays and a lot of money bust in Vegas. So I'm sure Vegas was stoked over the Julian Paiva winning, even though tons of people were high on Kyler Phillips. The next fight of the night, and I'm going to say it. I told y'all. I'm at a loss on Ian Heinrich, but we came back here. One of 4 places that I know of that back T. Me, Diehard Podcast MMA, Dan Tom MMA, and my boy, your favorite garbage man on Twitter, my old host of the MMA for Money show, been for years. Him and I always seem to agree on our bets. It's funny, we would even go do the podcast with each other during the week, in every week, but we wouldn't even talk sometimes. We would show up an hour before the fight or before the podcast or less, the live stream, and him and I would have the exact same people that we'd want to bet. And so he had Darren the Damage Elkins and TJ Dillashaw, as well as I did. And TJ Dillashaw showed why you just cannot fade these OGs, man. And I have the rule here on my show. You never doubt the OG when they have gas left in the tank. I had no reason for me to believe that TJ Dillashaw didn't have gas left in his tank. And so he ended up winning a 5-round split decision. Some people will say that Corey Sandhagen deserved to win, but I say Corey Sandhagen lost the bout by doing all the stupid spinning, kicky bullshit that he was doing, and ended up getting his back taken on the ground or getting taken down to the ground by TJ Dillashaw, and making the control and everything look like TJ Dillashaw was winning, because in my opinion he was. But if Corey Sandhagen didn't do a lot of the that he did, he probably would have ended up better there, in my opinion. But with that said, that was TJ Dillashaw. Cashed for 1.65 units for us, so we ended up only making 0.2 units for the show, but that's better than a negative, so I'll take that. Make sure you always watch my Twitter too, because when I see the scales on Fridays, some things change, and I see something, and I will fire later in the show because of that. I'm going to display my screen because it's ugly. So 1 second. But I appreciate 75 of you here with me. Can't thank you guys enough. There we go. All right, cool. All right, and then so with that said, that was the UFC event for last weekend, and then the next thing I will discuss is the UFC Ultimate Fighter is back, season 29, episode 9. Um, it was Ludwig took on Ricky Torricios, and these two went at it full on MMA style, just banging each other. There's only supposed to be 2 rounds. Of course, they went to a third because they was just so close. But Ricky Torricios just edged it all, in my opinion, in every way. Whether he was get taken down the ground, he'd get back up and spin. When he was on, if he got his back, he got taken down. He was on his back. He was dropping elbows. He was dropping punches. Ricky just looked really, really good here, and so he ended up winning the 3-round decision. I thought that it was fair, but poor Ludwig Shalonian, such a good dude. They showed his mother and father, and I'm pretty sure they're Armenian. If you know Armenian families and you know the elders, it's really they're really good families, and so I could see the pain in Ludwig's eyes, and you could see Brian Ortega consoling his fighter after. And after Team Ortega started off the season 4-0, it went 4-4, and then this was episode 9, and now Volkanovski has the first lead ever of the whole show, and so it's 5-4 Team Volkanovski, and so Team Ortega is definitely not very happy about that. So, but with that said, ONE FC championship this weekend. It's really weird. It's not MMA. And so I'm not really going to just talk about something I don't 100% know about. But the co-main event is Aung Le Nsang versus Leandro Etedes. I know Leandro Etedes is a BJJ black belt, super good on the ground, but Aung Le is a really decorated kickboxer, Muay Thai specialist, and so it should be a really good fight. He's taken out Brandon the Truth Vera in the fight before. So if I had to say, I would pick Aung Le Nsang. These fights will be on Friday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. So if you do like ONE FC and you like Muay Thai and kickboxing, you definitely want to watch this because like I said, it's going to be fun to watch that. And then on the main event of the card, Sam A. Gahado is going to take on Prajong P. Sechang. Sorry if I messed that up because those names were rough. But they're going to go and bang each other out in a striking affair. Like I said, I don't know 100% about these dudes because one of the guys has literally a 4-1 record. And I just can't really give you the best opinion on that. But so yeah, if you like fighting, ONE FC is going down on Friday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time for those people that just love getting fights in their life, because I am one of them. But the fights that will be really exciting are, let's see, I don't know what I did, but the fights that will be exciting is there's a Bellator this weekend and there's a UFC Fight Night Hall versus Strickland, UFC Vegas as they call them now. The names are all over the place in that sense, but let's see. 1 second. The first fight of the night, we have Orion Koska. 1 second, let me get my face off here. Orion Koska, he's taking on Philip Rowe. This is going to be a preliminary fight. Orion Koska is 7-0. He's 27 years old. He's on a 10-fight win streak, fighting at a Team Alpha Male. He's last fought and took on Matt Dixon, won on a ground and pound by Crucifix on the Contender Series. And so, then before that, he won KO TKO round 3 versus a guy who was 2-2, and then a guy named Dan McWilliams who's 18-43, folks. Jeez Louise, he beat him by Kimura, as he should, man. But yeah, Orion Koska is taking on Philip Rowe. They call him the Fresh Prince. He's 7-3. He's 31 years old. He's fighting 6'3", 80.5-inch reach. He's fighting out of Palm Coast, Florida. He's got a jiu-jitsu style. Yeah, really long and strong dude. 1 second, I was looking up for my notes. He trains with GM3 and Vera and Glover Teixeira and the likes. And so Philip Rowe has been making a lot of improvements in my opinion. And I like him here versus Koska. Right now they have the bets odds. They have Rowe as a plus 40 underdog. And so I like Philip Rowe here versus Koska. I think that he's going to be too much for Koska. So if you like an underdog play, I think that it's warranted why someone would fire on Phillip Road this weekend at the plus money. So that's the first bout of the night. The next fight of the night is Trevin Jones versus Ronnie Lawrence. Trevin Jones is 13-6. He's fighting out of Guam. So shout out to the Guamilians. Shout out to FokiStuff.com in that Guamilian gear. I like right at the bat. I like Trevor Jones a lot in this bout. He's 30 years old, 5'7", 70-inch reach. He's coming off 3 wins in a row. He last took on and won Mario Bautista and absolutely just damaged him into the ground. So then before that, he took on Timur Aliyev and won it was a no contest. And then before that, won in a rear naked choke and deep 89 impact. So Trevor Jones, he'll be taking on Ronnie Lawrence. Ronnie Lawrence is a wrestler, chain wrestler. He seems to just keep, trying to chain him together. Like I said, that's what chain wrestlers do. And he wants to get this fight to the ground. He's 7-1, 29 years old, 7'8" with a 70.5-inch reach. He's on a 4-fight win streak himself. He last took on Vince Cachero and won ground and pound round 3, but Vince Cachero is 7-3. And then Jose Johnson is Jose Johnson. He beat unanimous decision on the Contender Series. 11 he was. So right off the bat, man, I like Trevor Jones here. Trevor Jones is at a plus 130 number as well. So it just might be the night of underdogs if it keeps up with that. So. But yeah, Trevor Jones, I would favor there in that matchup. But if Ronnie Lawrence smothers him into the ground, all fighting as a wet blanket, it could be boring. But I just like Trevor Jones. I think he's got power that I like. It's kicking or striking, and he's from Guam, so he's got all kinds of points. Shout out to the 90 people, you guys all watching and supporting the show. Really can't thank you enough. The next bout of the night is Ashley Yoder, 8-7. They call her the Spider Monkey, but the Spider Monkey is Barry Yoshida. Master B, the finisher. I call him the Spider Monkey too, but it's his nickname's the finisher. But it's Master B, Barry Yoshida, one of the best grapplers ever. But anyways, Ashley Yoder, she's 8-7. She is 33 years old. She's 5'7" with a 69.5-inch reach. She's on a 1-fight losing streak. She last took on Angela Hill, lost unanimous decision. Angela, veteran in the UFC, just really well rounded. So you can't really blame her there because she's been fighting a lot lately. Then she took on Miranda Danger Granger. She lost by unanimous decision. And then she took on Liviana Souza, lost unanimous decision. So she's, been all over the place when she takes on someone that, someone that comparable to herself. Yoder's a BJJ brown belt also. Let's see, but she likes to flop to her back all the time, does Ashley Yoder. So you have to really be worried if she just takes her back because the judges will count that against her. But Jinyu Frey is small. She's 5'3". She's 10-6 on her record, 36 years old, 5'3", like I said, 65-inch reach. She's coming off a win where she looked really impressive and saved her job versus Gloria DePaula, won unanimous. Gloria DePaula is fighting on this card as well. She lost versus Laura Lookboom before that, and then Kay Hansen via triangle armbar. So she's a tapper, and I don't really like that. But with this one here, I really believe that Ashley Yoder is just going to be a little bit more. Is it be too big? I believe she's 5'7" versus 5'3", and it's just going to be a lot on the grappling department. Ashley Yoder's negative 140. I back that. I think that Ashley Yoder side there, and so I would back the Yoder on that. What's up, Ryan Richardson, my sponsor? Appreciate you here, brother. Hope that the fish are biting over there and your family as well. But yeah, with that said, I like Yoder there versus Jinyu Frey, but don't count Jinyu Frey out. I just don't like the size disadvantage that Ashley Yoder has. Size advantage Yoder has over Frey. The next fight of the night will be violence, in my opinion, and it'll be my first bet of the night. It's Danny Chavez taking on Kai Kamaka. It's Danny Chavez, known as the Colombian Warrior, 11-4, 34 years old, 5'8" with a 67-inch reach. He's coming off a 1 loss versus Jared Gooden, who's really well-rounded in the sense, and vet too. He lost unanimous decision, and then to beat TJ Brown unanimous decision before that. Danny Chavez, I just like him, man. I like his gas tank. Those Latin Americans just really come to scrap and he's taking on Kai Kamaka, who's 8-4, the Fighting Hawaiian, he calls himself. He's 26 years old. He's 5'7", 69-inch reach, 2 losses in a row. But he's boxer and wrestler. He last took on TJ Brown, lost a split decision. And then took on Jonathan Pierce. He lost via ground and pound round 2. So I mean, I don't think that Kai Kamaka France is going to like the hands of Danny Chavez. Right now, Danny Chavez is at negative 105. So I'm going to be putting down a negative 1.05 units, $105 on Danny Chavez to end the night of Kai Kamaka. I also like him on the inside the distance prop. And so if you guys like him there, you could hit that up as well. There's decent odds on it. So that'll be the first bet of the night for Cope's Corner. Will be Danny Chavez. So we're back in the Latin American. The next card we have Chris Gudemacher. He's taking on Garcia, and I don't know what it is, but it just seems like it happens. I'm going to roll back-to-back bets. My boy Rafa Garcia, the Mexican stallion. He's a stud. We call him the gifted one. He's 12-1. He's 26 years old. He's 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. He's got a 1-fight losing streak. He's fighting out of Baja, Mexico. Shout out to all the Mexicans out there, and especially the Mexican food. He last took on Nazareth Haparat, which was his debut fight, and that is not easy at all. Appreciate the fist bump award, Military Mike. Can't thank you enough, my dude. Bad boys for life. Appreciate all 98 of you here live with me and the gifts that you've given me. But yeah, like I said, Rafa Garcia, he took on Nazareth Hapraf in his debut fight in the UFC. And in your debut fight, that is a hell of a fight to take on. And Nazareth Hapraf is really well-rounded and super diverse. So he lost to him unanimous decision. Then he took on Humberto Bantane, who's fought in the UFC as well, I believe, on the Latin Ultimate Fighter. He won unanimous decision versus him. So hello, Venita. Appreciate you being here, my love. And so, yeah, I like Rafa Garcia a lot here. He's taking on Chris Gudemacher, Grits. They call him 14-4 as Chris. He's 35 years old. He's on a 1-fight losing streak. He's 5'8". He's got a 68-inch reach. He's fighting out of, the only thing good about him to me is he's fighting out of American Top Team Florida. And Chris Gutierrez got in round 1 versus Alexander Hernandez by hooks and just getting beat up by jabs that time. And so in his last fight, round 1, and he beat Joe Lozon, in his retirement, in a retirement fight for Joe Lozon in 2018. But that's about it, man. It's all he's done. He's tapped before that. Davey Ramos, he tapped a rear naked choke. Chaz Skelly's tapped a rear naked choke. So he's a tapper, and he's been knocked out by Artem Lowe. He's been Alexander Hernandez. So 2 times been knocked out. I just love it. I love everything about this fight for Rafa versus Chris Gudemacher. The odds open up at negative 250. I wish the odds were still negative 250 for you guys, but it's not. It's negative 310, but that's still fine. I would slam everything and my mother on this. So I'm putting 3.1 units down on Rafa to absolutely just devastate Chris Gudemacher and smash him into the ground. So make sure that the odds are still there. Negative 310 on 5 dimes is the odds right now. So that will be the second bet of the night for the UFC event for Cope's Corner. So if you like betting, those are my 2 leans that I strongly suggest that you can make money on. Let's see. The next fight of the night, we have Colin Anglin versus Melslik Bagdasarian. I hope I said that right. That's vicious. He's Melsik is 5-1. They're called the Gun. He's 29 years old. He's 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. He's 5 wins in a row. He's fighting out of Glendale, California. Shout out to California, but Glendale is not the place to be training for MMA, in my opinion. I've been around mixed martial arts my whole life. UFC 1 since the beginning. And my brother was in Ultimate Fighter season 6. I've been around Ken Shamrock, Phil Baroni. I don't know anyone who wants to train in Glendale. You over there with his team, it's not the best look, but this guy is pretty decent, man. He's a champion kickboxer. That's about all he does good, in my opinion. But he's taking on Colin Anglin. He's fighting out of Factory X, who Rafa Garcia, my boy, trains out of, Alexander Hernandez and the likes. So Colin Anglin is 8-1. He's 28 years old. He's 5'9", 71-inch reach. He's on a current streak of 7 wins in a row. But those 7 wins are suspect. His last one was on the Contender Series versus a guy at Mondaham Nav, who's 5-0. I can't even say his name properly, so sorry, bro. He won on the Contender Series. That's about his best win. The one before that, he beat a guy that was 1-1. The
Guy was fucking 1-1, dude. He beat him by punches round 2. You better beat him by punches round 2. Guys 1-1. The next guy was 1-2. Beat that guy round 2 by punches. Okay, cool, dude. He beat the slushy vendor, and then a guy that was 20-11 he beat. I can't trust Colin Anglin at all here. And so I'm going to be going with Melsik Bagdasaryan. I don't like to say it. I will not be betting it. He's at the negative 135 mark. So if you like betting and you like him, 1.35 units to make 100, that will be it. So $135 makes 100 on Melsik. But I'm not betting that fight personally. I can't trust him at all coming from the camp that he comes from. The next fight of the night is going to be a question in itself. I was a big fan of Nico Montana. She's taking on Yanin Wu. Nico Montana, 4-3 now. She does not fight often, and she did not fight at all really anymore. She's 32 years old, 5'5", with a 65-inch reach. She's on one fight losing streak, fighting out of Colorado at Elevation. She last fought, and she's canceled about in 2021, sorry. 2020. So what was it? October 2020, she canceled. September 2020, she canceled. August 2020, she canceled. February 2020, she canceled. She just canceled all over the place. It's crazy. She lost versus Ana Pena and lost a unanimous decision in 2019. Did my girl Nico Montana. Before that, she's taken on Roxanne Modafferi, and she's beaten her. Bob Honchek, Montana De La Rosa, Lauren Murphy. She has wins over her, so she's got some really good wins. Her biggest thing will be the scale. Will she make weight this weekend for her match? If she does, she is going to absolutely smash Yanin Wu into the ground. It'll be exactly like Sijara Eubanks baptized the Elisa Reed last weekend with punches and elbows. If she gets her down on the ground, Yanin Wu is going to get smashed into the ground. If we knew more about Nico Montana, I would bet the inside the distance prop on her because I really believe that she could finish Yanin Wu. But it's women's MMA, and I not that the women's can't finish. It doesn't happen often. So I'm going to favor Nico Montano. I think she's got a really good ground game, super strong. Native American. So shout out to all the indigenous people. A good part of my family is. So I really like Nico. I think she comes in here and absolutely dominates. But to throw down the money on her, let's see what her number is. She's negative 245. It's fair versus Wu. Like not going to do much, but it's a lot to off of someone coming off and not fighting in a while. So I would be iffy on that one on firing a bet. But the next fight of the night, we have Brian Barberena. He's taking on Jason Witt. This is the first bout of the main card. Brian Barberena is an absolute savage. 15-7. They call him Bam Bam. He's 32 years old. He's 6 foot with a 72-inch reach. He's on a current 1-fight win streak, fighting out of Glendale, Arizona. He last took on Anthony Ivy and beat him unanimous decision. Then he took on Randy Rude Boy Brown. He lost by punches and knees round 3, so late into the fight. Ended up gassing. And then Vicente Luque round 3. Vicente Luque is no joke, so you can't really hate on him for taking a beat down from Vicente Luque or Rand in that sense. But they are losses on the record, and you have to be wary of that. He's taking on Jason Witt, the Vanilla Gorilla, he calls himself. 18-7, 34 years old, 5'10", 70-inch reach. He's got a 1-fight losing streak. This guy has no chin at all. We cashed for a bet on the Cope's Corner for Matt Selzenberger when he fought Matt Selzenberger. Matt Selzenberger whooped his ace round 1 with a counter right and just smashed him. One of the easiest bets we bet in a long time was when Jason Witt fought Matt Selzenberger. That's his last fight where he got smashed into the ground. Then before that, he beat Cole Williams, who was 11-2. I'll give him that for your round 2 arm triangle. But then he lost to Takashi Sato, round 1 ground and pound. So he just, he gets finished. Brian Barberena is coming off of injuries, coming off of layoffs. There's a lot of questions in this bout. But in my opinion, Brian Barberena is going to absolutely smash him into the ground. If he shows up and makes weight, if he shows up and looks any bit of himself that he used to look, the negative 260 price tag is pretty steep with someone coming off of an injury. I believe it was a motorcycle crash that he had. James Lynch was talking about how Brian Barberena was saying that he was just going to go engage and see how he feels because this is all he's, he hasn't had anything to show for himself fighting wise in a long time, especially since his accident. So I like Brian Barberina here. I favor him to win. I think he will win and smash Jason Witt into the ground. But if Jason Witt just lays on him for 3 rounds, it could be really boring. But I'm gonna go Brian Barberina. I think he finishes him. So possible inside distance, Brian Barberina there. Same with Rafa Garcia, man. The inside the distance is plus 150 on Rafa Garcia. My bet. I'm almost about to bet a unit on Rafa Garcia inside the distance too. So if you like my bet on Rafa Garcia, and at the 3.1 units is too much, you could put 1 unit to make 1.5 units on my bet Rafa Garcia. But I also like Brian Barberina here inside distance versus Jason Witt. I think he smashes them into the ground. But with the questions of the layoff, it's hard to fire on Brian Barberina. The next fight of the night is this just looks simple, and that's when you know there's a major problem. It's Ryan Benoit, who's the now BJJ brown belt, trains with Gary Tonin and the likes of really good grapplers. He's 10-7. He's 31 years old. He's 5'5", 68.5-inch reach. He's coming off a 2-fight losing streak. Ryan Benoit, he last took on Tim Elliott and lost unanimous decision. He looked absolutely terrible in that fight. Then he took, he lost a split decision, and then he hasn't won a fight since Ashkan Mokhtarian in 2017. And Ashkan, we call because he's that bad, is nothing to brag about. Excuse me. And so I like Ryan Benoit here. I think that he's going to smash Adeshev. Adeshev is 3-3, guys. 3-3. I don't even know how he's a pro fighter being 3-3. He calls himself the Lion. He's got no ground game at all. He's got decent striking in this at that. He's 28 years old, 5'5", 65-inch reach. 2-fight losing streak, fighting out of Brooklyn, New York. So that's a good thing. I love Brooklyn, New York. Last fight took on Su Matajeri and lost unanimous decision. And then Tyson Nam, he lost round 1, got smoked by Tyson Nam, got smashed into the ground. So I can't trust him at all. I like Ryan Benoit here. I think that he should win this easily. But you know, it's Ryan Benoit, and you just never know exactly what you're going to get with him. But he's negative 135. I almost want to bet him, man. I like him a lot. I think he wins this fight. He's the better grappler. He'll be able to possibly get out on the ground and sub him. At negative 135, so $135 will make you 100 on Ryan Benoit. But like I said, with the questions of Benoit's mental game and just in and out of competition, it's just hard to pick Ryan Benoit there. So. But I mean, pick him as a bet and fire. I pick him. Period. He's winning that fight, in my opinion. But we will see if I eat my words later on in the week. The next fight of the night is going to be Nicholas Stoltzov taking on Jared Gooden. Nicholas Stoltzov is 12-4. He calls himself the Green Mask. He's 6'1", 75-inch reach. He's on a 1-fight streak, fighting out of Deutschland, Germany. If you didn't know. Kickboxer is his foundation. And I just he last fight took on Ramazan Emeev. He was really tough. He lost unanimous decision, and then he took on a guy named Omar Jesus Santana. Unanimous decision. He won. Who was 16-5, and Christian Draxler was 13-4 via punches. Let's see. He was supposed to take on Manor Lazez. Was Nicholas Stoltzov. There was a note I had on Nicholas Stoltzov. 1 second. No, I guess not. Yeah, so Nicholas Stoltzov was supposed to take on Manor Lazez. The bout got canceled. Jared Gooden is filling on short notice. Jared, the night train Gordon, is 17-6. He's 27 years old. He's on a 2-fight losing streak. He's 6 foot with a 77-inch reach, fighting out of ATL, Georgia. So our boy Best Fight Picks, Dan Levy, my boy and Shaq over there, where they dwell. So like I said, Jared Gooden last took on Abukar Nurmagomedov. He lost unanimous decision. And then he took on Alan Joban. He lost unanimous decision. And then Trent McCown, he won via strikes in round 2. So he's really taken on, every time he's taken on someone who's got any game, he's lost. And so Jared Gooden in a late replacement, I mean, it's hard to say what you're going to get, but I'm going to back the German. I think Nicholas Stoltzov is going to win here. The odds are negative 245 Stoltzov. So, it is what it is. $245 to make 100 on Stoltzov on the late notice Jared Gooden. But if that round 1 will be very iffy, Jared Gooden has some hands, and if he lands one, he could end the night of Stoltzov. But I like Stoltzov for 3 rounds, especially with the short notice of Jared Gooden. The next fight of the night is Gloria De Paula. She's 5-3. The Brazilian is 26 years old, 5'5", with a 67.5-inch reach. She last took on Jinyu Frey and lost. That was her debut off of the Contender Series. So tough fight, and Jinyu Frey looked hella good on this fight when she took on Gloria DePaula. That was for Jinyu Frey to keep her job, and she's also on this card. So you can't blame Gloria DePaula, for facing adversity on her first real competition in Jinyu Frey. She took on the Contender Series Pauline Macias. She won unanimous decision, and then won Rafaela Rodriguez round 3 by punches. So Gloria DePaula, she's obviously a striker, and she's taking on Cheyenne Bays. She's 5-2. She's 26 years old, 5'3", 63-inch reach and streak. Took on Montserrat Ruiz and lost unanimous decision. If you know Montserrat Ruiz, she's got smashed in round 1 a few weeks ago, and so she's nothing to write home about. So she lost unanimous decision to her, and then she took on Hillian Rose, who was 4-1 on the Contender Series, and she won that fight. I like Gloria DePaula here. I think she's learned her lesson after taking on Jinyu Frey, and she's going to sharpen up her ground game, and she's going to be able to just implement her kicking game plan, implement her striking. She's got a good lower leg kick, and she implements that lower leg kick on a girl like Cheyenne Bays. That's a grappler. She's gonna have a little bit of a problem. So I like Gloria DePaula here, and the odds on this fight are Gloria DePaula is a underdog. So I like the underdog there. So plus 150. So $100 makes 150 extra dollars on Gloria DePaula. I like the Gloria DePaula there. I think that Cheyenne Bays is overhyped and isn't worth the money. But we shall see what happens. Let's see, Gloria DePaula there, and then so the co-main event of the night is Kai Ho Kang. His first name is, I butchered that, Kai Young Ho Kang versus Ronnie Yaya, co-main event of the evening. Mr. Perfect, he calls himself, does Kang. 17-8. He is 33 years old. He's 5'9" with a 73-inch reach. He's on a 3-fight win streak. He's fighting out of South Korea. So shout out to all the Korean barbecues, food there is. Get some bulgogi and some sliced brisket on the grill. It's fire. Kai Hong Kang, he took on Wang Lu, and he won a split decision. And then he took on Brandon Davis and then won a split decision in 2019. He hasn't fought in a couple of years, has Mr. Perfect. So he must have been sharpening his game plan and implementing something. Ronnie Yaya is a BJJ black belt. We know what he wants to do. He wants to get this fight on the ground and implement his jiu-jitsu. And so he's 36 years old, is Ronnie Yaya, 5'6" with a 68-inch reach. He's on a 1-fight win streak. He's fighting out of Brazil. He's last fought Ray Rodriguez, and he won via arm triangle choke in round 2. Then he took on Enrique Barzola. He lost. It was a draw decision majority, so they tied. And then Ricky Simone, he lost unanimous decision, who's a really good wrestler, and kind of canceled out his game plan. But then he beat Luke Sanders via heel hook. So the game plan for Ronnie Yaya is there's no strange plan. He wants to get this fight on the ground and get Mr. Perfect down and submit him. The odds are Ronnie Yaya is an underdog at plus 110. I have a hard time picking Ronnie Yaya because his striking is so obsolete. I'm going to be picking a Mr. Perfect here. I think Kai Ho Kang, he wins. I think that he's just going to be a little bit bigger, stronger. He's 5'9" versus, how small is Yaya? 5'6". So yeah, Mr. Perfect here. I'm gonna go for the win. Hi, Jaw. Appreciate the award, my dude, and I appreciate all 136 of you live tuning in. I really can't thank you guys enough for being the show with me, and I do it for you guys. The next fight of the night we have is the main event of the night, and is the best fight of the, in my opinion. We have Uriah Hall in the main event versus Sean Strickland. Uriah Hall, prime time. He calls himself 17-9. He's 36 years old. He's 6 foot, 79.5-inch reach. He's on a 4-fight win streak. He's fighting out of New York City, New York. So shout out to NY, baby. Shout out to Ted Hicks and all my boys over there that live in NY. The last fight that Uriah Hall took on was Weidman. And that's when Chris Weidman did that notorious leg break in round 1. Crazy fluky, and then he beat Anderson Silva. What's crazy that what are the chances that Uriah Hall, both his 2 last wins are 2 guys that broke their leg in the middle of a fight, Uriah Silva and Chris Weidman. But yeah, he took on them on and he beat him. And so Uriah Hall, really devastating striker, really diverse game plan, but his mental game, you never know exactly what Uriah you're going to get. Sean Strickland calls himself Tarzan. He's 23-3. He's an absolute savage. This guy travels all over the world, literally, just to learn how to be more diverse. 30 years old, 6'1", a 76-inch reach on a 4-fight win streak. He's got a lot of hype coming into him on him. He last took on Christoph Jocko, won unanimous decision. He cashed for us for his Brendan Allen when we won that round 2. Jack Marshman, unanimous decision, and then Nordine Taylor, round 2. The only problem with Sean Strickland, in my opinion, is that he leaves his chin open for some damage. If he does that versus Uriah Hall, there will be some problems. I don't know exactly what Uriah Hall we're going to get, but I do know that Sean Strickland's coming to bang, and he's coming to scrap. And so that's going to play into the counter-striking of Uriah Hall, in my opinion. The odds on this fight are plus 175 on Uriah Hall for the negative 210 Strickland. Sorry to take a drink. Negative 210 Strickland. So everyone's on the hype of Strickland. I have a little problem with this one. I told you, I have the rule. I can't bet against the OG versus a newer guy. Not that Strickland's that much newer, but Uriah Hall's been here for a long time, and I can't fade him. So I'm gonna have to be against the grain, and I'm gonna pick Uriah Hall to upset Sean Strickland. I think that Sean Strickland sometimes leaves himself vulnerable to be kicked in his chin or be kicked or punched in his jaw and clipped and potentially knocked out. But this will be a no bet for me. And so, like I said, I'll be going Uriah Hall. The plus 175 odds on 5 dimes is what it's at. So I like Uriah Hall. I mean, this guy's been in the octagon, with BJJ black belt Antonio Carlos Jr., who stud on the ground. Anderson Silva striking. He's literally been on there with the best of them, man. But he's spotty at times. But with that said, I'm going to pick Uriah Hall. I think that he wins here in the main event of the evening for the UFC for this weekend. But with that said, my 2 bets of the weekend are Danny Chavez. I've got that plus, it's negative 105. I'm going to be putting down $105 on Danny Chavez to win 100. And then I'm going to be putting down $310 on Rafa Garcia to win 100. So 3.1 units on Rafa Garcia, 1.05 units on Danny Chavez. You know what, dude? I'm putting down 1 unit on Rafa Garcia inside the distance at plus 150 as well. So double down on Rafa Garcia inside the distance, 1 unit. So $100 on Rafa at plus 150 inside distance. And then on money line, $310 to make 100 on Rafa Garcia. Then $105 on Chavez to make 100. So 3 bets for the UFC event for this weekend. Last week, we've been on a 3-fight win streak on the events. So we haven't lost profit in quite a while. So hope you guys keep rolling with me. And we have 144 of you live. So I really appreciate you all here. I'm going to jump. I might as well do a little bit of the Bellator. The Bellator is so good this weekend that it's kind of disrespectful if I don't jump into the Bellator this upcoming weekend. I'm only going to go over let's go to the top 3 fights. Usman Nurmagomedov, who is the cousin of Khabib, the GOAT, the lightweight champion of the world, the undisputed, that will never be uncrowned because of he just never got beaten. So Khabib's cousin, Usman, he's taking on Manny Murrow. Usman is 12-0. Obviously, he's fighting out of Moscow, Russia. So shout out to the Russians. He's 23 years old, 5'11", 72-inch reach. 13-fight win streak is the savage. He's last fought and took on Mike Hamill, and he beat him unanimous decision. And then he took on Shitalov Shabanov. That was a crazy name. Beat him round 2, and then he beat a guy in round 1, and then a guy round 2, round 1. So he's a finisher, is Usman Nurmagomedov. And so he's taking on Manny Murrow. Manny Murrow, he calls himself the Dragon. He's 12-6. He's 34 years old. He's 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. He's on a current 3-fight win streak. He's fighting out of Jackson Wink MMA in New Mexico. Really good camp, obviously. John Jones trains out of Holly Holm, and a bunch of other fighters that we've all known for a long time. Manny Murrow took on Devin Powell. Devin Powell is terrible, absolutely terrible. Manny Murrow's claim to fame lately is he beat Devin Powell. Then he beat a guy with one hand in Nick Newell, split decision. You're a great dude, but let's get serious. I just can't do it. This is set up for Usman Nurmagomedov to absolutely devastate and win. Watch, let's see the odds here. Usman Nurmagomedov is a negative 1,100, folks. Holy shit, Real Mike. You picked a negative 1,100 favorite. Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I didn't make the odds. He's gonna whoop his ass. Usman Nurmagomedov is gonna do what he does, and he's gonna damage the kid. He's gonna smash Murrow, probably by ground and pound. But because I said ground and pound, it'll probably be that by decision because that's how things work. It's usually the opposite of what you think. You think it's going to be devastation knockout, and it's going to be a decision. You think it's going to be a decision, the girl knocks her out, submits her. It's crazy. But the third fight, that's the third last fight of the night for Bellator. And Bellator, the Bellator will be on Saturday, competing with UFC. It will be on at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It will be on Showtime, so make sure you watch that because I think the Bellator might actually be better than the UFC this weekend, which is not like me to say. The co-main event of the evening will be absolutely amazing if you like mixed martial arts. Mads Burnell is taking on my boy Emmanuel Manny Sanchez, El Matador. 20-5 is Emmanuel Sanchez, 30 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. He's on a one-fight losing streak. He's gotten out of Rufus Sport MMA, where Anthony Pettis is home of, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He last took on Patricio Pitbull, who you cannot blame anyone losing to Patricio Pitbull. He lost to guillotine choke round 1. I do not like tappers, so it makes me upset that he did that. But it's Patricio Pitbull, and I mean, what can you do, man? The lights get bright, and you go into a fright when you get on those big stages versus the big veterans like, Pitbull. He took on a wrestler, Daniel Wenchel. He beat him unanimous decision. Taiwan Claxton, he beat him a triangle choke round 2. Georgie Karaharnian, a veteran, he beat him. He just can't beat Patricio Pitbull and Manuel Sanchez. But he's taking on Mads Burnell. Mads Burnell is no slouch, 15-3. He is 27 years old. He's 5'8", 69-inch reach. He's on a 6-fight win streak, fighting out of Denmark. He's not fought and took on Sal Rogers, a veteran of Bellator. He won rear naked choke in round 2. Then he took on Darko Bonovac, beat him round 1, ground and pound. And then he beat a couple other guys that were whatever. This is Emmanuel Sanchez. Man, I don't normally bet on Bellator, but dude, Emmanuel Sanchez at -105. -105. I'm gonna fire on him. It's -105. I'm gonna back Emmanuel Sanchez. This will be my only bet of the night for this event for Bellator. Will be Emmanuel Sanchez at -105. I'll throw down $105 to make 100 on Emmanuel El Matador Sanchez to do his thing, his scrambling ability, his striking, his gas tank. When you see this Emmanuel Sanchez do his thing, man, he's a treat to watch. So this fight, the co-main event of Bellator 263, should be an absolute treat. The main event will be a treat in itself as well. We have, one second, Patricio Pitbull, the infamous Pitbull brothers, versus AJ McKee Jr. Man, Patricio Pitbull, let's start off with him. 32-4. He's 34 years old. He's 5'6" with a 65.5-inch reach. He's on a 7-fight win streak, fighting out of Brazil, of course. He last took on my boy Emmanuel Sanchez. Like I said, guillotine choke round 1, right cross round 1, beat Pedro Carvalho, a BJJ black belt in round 1. Juan Archuleta, great wrestler, striker, beat him unanimous decision. Michael Chandler beat him round 1. We know we love Michael Chandler. Shout out to Melon Brand Hats, another sponsor of Michael Chandler and your boy Cope's Corner. So appreciate them and all you guys. I appreciate the 152 of you live and the awards that you guys have given me. With that said, Pitbull, with Patricio Pitbull, he's just taken everyone and absolutely just dismantled them. He's 5. The only thing that bothers me is the size disadvantage of Pitbull, and I say that almost every time that he wins. He's taking on AJ McKee Jr., absolute stud, man. He calls himself the Mercenary. He's 17-0. He's never tasted defeat. 26 years old, 5'10", 73.5-inch reach. 22-fight win streak, dude. Fighting out of Cali, Lakewood. Shout out to California, where I'm from. AJ McKee Jr. took on Darian Caldwell, beat him on modified neck crank from guard round 1. Darian Caldwell, though, great wrestler, but he's got tapper. Sad to say, I was a fan of him for a while. Then he took on Derek Campos, won in an arm bar round 3, and then he beat George Karaharnian in round 1. So, yeah, guys that he should beat. He's a great wrestler, AJ McKee Jr. I love American wrestling. I love jiu-jitsu, doing it my whole life. And AJ McKee Jr. is an absolute stud and savage. I love his all-around game plan, but this is a different fight, man. He's never tasted defeat in his amateur and pro career. He's 22 wins in a row, like I said, 17-0 as a pro. That gives me a little heebie-jeebies for him. I like Patricio Pitbull here. I think he's going to win quite easily, and he's the veteran here, so I have to back him because of my rule. He's negative 120 on 5 dimes right now. And so for Bell 2263, I like Patricio Pitbull at the negative 120. I'd back him. But if I was throwing down a bet like I'd rather pick Emmanuel Sanchez at the negative 105 number. And that will be my only bet of the night of the 3 fights I went over will be Emmanuel Sanchez at negative 105 to win 100. And then the main event of the event, I will just watch and gladly enjoy. But I will probably regret not Patricio Pitbull, or I'll come back here next week and be stoked that I held back and did not fire. But with that said, man, I really can't thank you guys enough for being here with me and just being here for all of the stuff that I went over. I can't do the show without you guys, and really appreciate you. So with that said, like I said, did the show for you guys. Make sure you tune in next week on Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I appreciate all you in the live chats and the people that have just been with me ever since.